Greetings, humans and humanoids. My name is Alan from ADR Comics. I am the writer and creator of Project Impact. It's an independent comic book series that is available on Comixology. Link will be in the description below. Today, I would like to welcome you to the first video attempt that I'm making for YouTube. This is going to be a playthrough of City of Heroes. It's an MMORPG from the mid 2000s, around 2004, 2005, that closed its doors in 2012. Over the last year or so, it has been resurrected as a private server sort of format game, which is outstanding because, well, I've missed the game. One of the things that I wanted to do on City of Heroes was to get a chance to sort of reproduce the team members of Project Impact, which I managed to actually successfully do. Um, Over the course of this video series, we will be getting a chance to play with the different members of Project Impact or Team Impact on this particular server, and we will, I guess, enjoy the game as well. I wanted to use this as a chance to introduce people in a different format to the characters that appear in issues 1 and 2 of our hopefully ongoing series. Starting again with, well, let's give a quick rundown of who the team members are. I managed to successfully recreate at least their looks for the most part in City of Heroes format. Um, power applications don't necessarily match up one to one, but that's what happens when you're trying to fit characters from one medium into another medium. So what I've got here is Pulsar. He is the team leader. In the City of Heroes game, he is a mutant blaster or mutation blaster, using radiation and energy control powers. Next we have Moose. He is a tank. Basically, he is the big strong guy. He's very much what I would want. He's essentially my Ben Grimm or the Thing of this particular team. We have Le Gardien du Québec, who is Quebec Guardian. He is an armored technology character, so he's basically he's got himself a mech suit sort of idea. Blast things with a blaster. Got Polar Knight. He is in this game a magic stalker, so essentially he gets his powers at its root from a magical sword that he had found while on a expedition in the northern parts of Canada. We have Damsel. She is a kinetic energy sort of powerhouse in the game. Pretty much she, you hit her, she tends to get a little bit riled up and she'll, knock the stuffings out of people. We have Sizem, who is an earth controller. And then finally, the one that we're going to be playing with today is Recap. Now, Recap's powers did not match one-to-one between the comics and the game because he is, in the comics, is a post-cog. So he tends to see the past based on physical contact with objects and things. That's not really something that's easily transferable to a video game, status. So I made him into like a time controller sort of thing. He can slow down, speed up time, things like that. He's one of the support defender characters. But he's actually the one who we're going to be going through this first playthrough with. He is at level 2, so I essentially already went through the tutorial for City of Heroes with him. We're going to blast through the early parts of this game and give you a bit of a tour of Paragon City. So, Paragon City is the main setting of City of Heroes. It's divided up into a series of different regions. Starting characters end up in the initial leveling zone, which would be Atlas Park. Essentially, the tutorial will go through the destruction of the previous, or one of the previous leveling zones, which was Galaxy City. My understanding is that nobody really played that particular zone very often, so they just sort of centered on Atlas Park. Now, as you can see, we've got ourselves a sort of a back-facing view. You can go into more of a first-person view if you really want to, or you can back it up to get a lot more of a third-person view and get different camera angles going. I'm going to wander through this opening part. Now, the first spot, you'll actually notice up here we have a compass. This compass will direct us in a lot of ways towards our goals. We have a map. We can detach the map. I like to detach the map and just sort of put it off to the side into a spot where I can easily sort of keep track of what's going on. So here I am. If we look at the map, I am right here. And our first spot would be to speak with the FBSA agent Matthew Habashi in Atlas Park. That is one of the earliest and probably one of the faster moving ways to get through the opening zone. So let's take a quick jaunt over to Matthew. We can click on Matthew. It says recap, right? My name is Matthew Habashi. I'm with the Federal Bureau of Superpowered Affairs, or the FBSA. Are you okay getting out of, or from getting out of Galaxy City? I just barely got out myself. Pick a response. So, oh, don't worry about me. What's the situation here? Well, Longbow. Now, Longbow are a bunch of characters that are running around in red and white costumes. They are part of the Hero Corps. They're a volunteer segment of the Hero Corps. Anyway. Longbow and the Paragon Police Department have devoted all their resources towards containing the situation. However, that's left Atlas Park nearly defenseless against other crimes. Oh, well, so what's the situation in Atlas? Well, Atlas Park has seen much better days. Recap. All the refugees from Galaxy City are being sent here, either to find loved ones that they lost or for support. However, the majority of the police force fighting in Galaxy City, Atlas is ripe for the picking. That's why the FBSA sent me down here to work with heroes like you to try and take back Atlas Park. Are you ready? Let's do this. So, this is the first part of the arc, the What Was Lost, Part 1, Demons and Gangsters. So, got essentially in this particular quest, we got to go after a series of the street gang called the Hellions. They've got a bit of a demonic tilt to them. So I'm going to select the Just Tell Me Where to Go, and I'll help these people. Now you do have an option with any of your contacts to look at the store option. So the store would be where we can buy things like inspirations. Some will eventually add enhancements. Enhancements are things that, you know, sort of buff up your powers. Now at this point, because he is starting at level 2, he has nothing that resembles the in-game currency or influence. If I want to go to the first location, then I would be heading over in this direction here. It's asking us to take the fight to the Hellions, defeat 5 Hellions. So I've already got my running or dash sort of option, sprint, clicked off. This little double helix here will give me an additional power. In this case, I've got acute senses. That will improve my defense slightly. It's not really that big of a difference at this point because I guess I'm too low level for it to make that much of a difference. So, as mentioned, because Recap's powers did not translate very well to the game environment, I did go with a time manipulation sort of thing. So I got time manipulation, he's got temporal mending, And I also gave him dual pistols as his secondary offensive capability because, well, if you don't really have offensive powers, might as well go with something that shoots things. So we're going to wander over here in this direction here. And see what we can find. So these are Hellions. Now, as you can see, when I click on the Hellions, I get a target up here in the top left corner. He's got a white coloring to him, which would indicate that he is my level. These guys all seem to be my level. If they are a level down, then they will appear in blue, or if they're a difficulty level down in mine, they'll appear in blue. If they are of greater difficulty, then they will appear in either yellow or red or orange or purple, depending on what exactly the case happens to be. Now, I just have to take out 5 of these guys, so it shouldn't be that much of an issue, presuming that I can never actually hit them. So, right now I'm using my different power sets to take them out. On the tray down here, you will see the recharge rates of the different powers. And so I've got myself a couple of different options. I've got like a single sort of shot. I've got a brawl option. This is a notification that I've got my first enhancement. The enhancements, as mentioned, were the or are the things that will buff your power sets. Now, from what I've been doing on my other characters, I've been trying to avoid adding enhancements as best I can for the first series of levels because, well, influence comes at kind of a premium on this particular server since it doesn't really have a massive economy going. So as a result, I need to make sure that I have money to be able to pick up the different enhancements. Now, as you just saw, this group here has respawned. Now, I did actually already complete the quest, as evidenced by receiving the clue. So I've got Why We Fight. One of the Hellions threatened you after you took him down. You can't stop what's coming. We know what we're going to get. We've been told what's going to happen next. Galaxy was just the first step. Atlas won't be far behind, you'll see. So, right, whatever. As an opening arc, chances are pretty good they are going to fail. So this actually area, with considering how fast they respawn and how easily I took them out the first time, I'm going to use this area here to sort of semi-farm them, I guess, just to get, I can easily get up to level 3, maybe level 4, just by killing these guys off repeatedly at their spawn rates. I'm not sure if I'll go necessarily that route or if I will just take out a few to make things a little bit more interesting here. As you can see, he's got the gun fu thing going, which again is not necessarily reflective of him in the comic. In the comic, he is the one who actually, he provides a lot of background information, especially in the initial issue. He's able to sort of give the team a bit of a rundown in terms of what's going on in a power station that's been taken over by a series of, or a group of mercenaries. Now, as you can see, here is the XP bar. Basically, every time that you fill the XP bar, then another one of the segments will be filled up. When you get to the end up here, so on the top right hand side, this will all of a sudden power you up and you'll see like an arrow pointing up and it'll give you a new number, which would be like number 3 in this case because I'm only at level 2. The levels in-game correspond to security clearance, which is just their fun way of reskinning an experience level sort of thing. So the highest level officially in the game is level 50, although you can do things post level 50. I've never actually reached level 50. So, depending on how the series goes, we may very well be experiencing level 50 together. I'm also not a particularly great player at this, so you can also, I guess, maybe consider this a little bit of like a you know, noob plays sort of video series. Um, Fortunately, again, with these levels of guys, you really don't get too much of a problem out of the individual thugs when you're down at this level. So okay, I'm going to head back over to Matthew. I could have just kept there and farming them, but like really, where's the fun in that? So here we are. So what was lost? Well, thanks, recap. The PPD are on the scene now and handling the situation. The Hellion said something about Atlas Park being next to fall. Seriously, can't we catch a break? If it's not meteors destroying the city, it's a group of demon-worshipping punk cultists saying the end is nigh. Looks like we're not out of the woods yet. So, I'd click on Ask About Available Missions. Brings up the second part of the arc. Okay, so it sounds like the Hellions are either planning something big or they know something big is about to happen. I'll admit, I'm kind of new to the whole business of taking down criminals like this. I was just a guy working behind a desk before the Galaxy incident. I think I have an idea of what we can do next, however. Well, what are you thinking? Part 2. Officer Nelson is taking charge of the PPD's cleanup of that neighborhood. He'll know about anything going on with the Hellions. I'd go talk to him. Oh yeah, here's my cell phone number. You can call me at any time. This way, communication is much more efficient. So, essentially, after you've done a mission or two for different contacts, they will give you a cell phone number so you don't have to always go running back to the initial contact like you find in some other MMOs. Now, one of the things that is possible in this game is to go check out other potential contacts right off the bat. And I'm kind of split on whether or not to show those on here or not. There are a few different options that are from the old game, or the earlier iteration of the game. So you would go into, say, the city hall and get quests from quest givers depending on your particular origin. Since recap is a science origin, then he would end up going to the science related contact. But I think I'm going to just proceed forward with talking with Nelson. Now, you mentioned, so remember I mentioned longbow. Here are a couple of the longbow guys here. They will engage the occasional, you know, street punk that ends up coming into the wrong area. There are also some different areas, like, well, there are different monitors set up to sort of zap enemies that are coming into safe zones, essentially. So, what I've got here is I've got Officer Nelson. Click on Officer Nelson. It's recap, right? I've heard you're responsible for helping us take back this area. We all appreciate it. You and Matt are already doing a lot of good for the city. It can set an example for those lazier heroes. It's a shame that his wife Dana died in Galaxy City. But anyway, we could use more of your help here, if you're willing to give it. So we got a couple of different responses. We can just move straight on and just sort of fly by things, or you can actually acknowledge the fact that Matthew's wife Dana had died in Galaxy City. So that's what we're going to do. Like, oh, he didn't tell you? It doesn't surprise me. He's a very focused guy. I don't know the details. All I know is that she didn't make it. If you want to know some more, I'd ask him. So, will do. What can you tell me about the Hellions? Hellions are over in Prometheus Park right now. We've got reports that they've kidnapped several people and are trying to take others in the park. Someone has to stop them. We don't have the manpower to keep this neighborhood safe and go after them. It'll be up to you to make that happen, recap. Alright, I'm on it. Not a biggie. So, Prometheus Park is over here. I could jump through the different areas, or I could just use the sidewalks. So we're headed to Prometheus Park. There is definitely a very overt Greek god sort of related references here. Well, we got ourselves some of the Clockwork. Clockwork are annoying little buggers. They are wind-up robots that do a lot of electrical attacks. These electrical attacks tend to get by the defenses that my characters usually have, so I find them particularly annoying. The blue outline on the names, as you saw, that would indicate that these were, again, level 1s, so not really something that I had to be too terribly worried about. Now, as I move over into Prometheus Park, there should be guys who are spawning. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't spawn here. Why haven't they spawned here? Okay, so I've got to rescue 4 citizens. Now, I got myself a fallen gunner. He's a level 2, but he's a level 2 lieutenant, so he is a yellow status. That means he's going to be a bit tougher for me to deal with. So, really that's all relative here. Now, ideally, the higher the level of enemy, the more experience and influence that you'll get. So, in probably like a minute or two, I'm going to end up at level 3, and you'll see what happens when the level 3 aspect happens. So, firing off with my two gun things and then using my additional science tranquilizer as a third option, I have leveled up. So, get a bunch of different bonus inspirations for when you level up. That is really helpful when you're trying to take down bigger foes. Now you'll notice that the fallen buckshot has now hit sort of a white color. He's still level 2, I'm level 3, but because he's a lieutenant, he's about the equivalent of a normal level 3 person like myself. Okay? So I've now rescued all of the relevant people, and I can go over to this cavern here to check out what's going on. Okay, so I use spacebar to jump. I use my mouse to navigate, and I have each of the numbers down here corresponds to a key on the main keyboard, and I'm able to click to attack that way. So this is another fast respawning area, so I can really pretty much just stand here and gun these guys down, you know, for as long as I really want. Experience will gradually get lower as I'm going through things, which is unfortunate, but again, it's early levels and it doesn't take too much to level anyway. One thing I will say about this particular early arc is it's very easy on the current version of the game to out-level the quest zones. Back in the day, this would have been a lot tougher and longer of a grind, but they have sort of sped up things to a certain extent. Because, well, if you're not working on a subscription service, like, and this is, you know, again, private server run free to play, there's no reason to really push the grind, because you're not worried about how long somebody's necessarily playing the game as a source of income. You're just worried about making sure that people are getting to play the content that they're interested in playing. And for most people, that is late game content. I'm a big fan of the early stuff because I haven't seen really the late game stuff. So I have to, okay, quick aside, I have to retrieve the stolen artifact in the cavern, find information on the Hellions. Here is the cursed artifact. I've clicked on it, clue found. It's reminding me about the cell phones aspect of things to let me call back Daniel. And while I'm waiting to talk to Daniel, I'm just going to deal with a couple more of these guys here. Anyway, as it says, you find an artifact that exudes dark magic. It seems the Hellions are using this to perform some sort of dark magic in the caves beneath Prometheus Park. You notice a small label on the side of the artifact reading property of Magi. The Magi are the government organization that is dedicated to corresponding with the Magic Origin heroes. So somebody like Polar Knight, if he was going through the initial quests for his early missions and things like that, he would be going back and forth to Magi. So, as I mentioned, respawn is very high here. So, see, they're already respawning. I'm really not in any sort of danger as far as getting taken out. So I can afford to just have a little chat and deal with them. Now, an important thing to note, considering this is a superhero game, is that even though Recap is popping these guys with guns, he's not actually killing them, quote unquote. The thought is that once he's taken them down, that they are essentially being arrested and apprehended. There is a system in the game, like in-game lore, where essentially villains, once they're taken out, will get essentially teleported to a facility called the Ziggurat, or the Zig. Similarly, there is a hospital protocol set up for, in the event that your hero dies or gets taken out during the course of a mission, he'll get teleported back, he or she, that is, will get teleported back to a hospital setting and be reset to maximum health. That does mean that you have to then turn around and walk back, fly back, whatever, to wherever it is that you were previously adventuring, which is kind of a pain, but so be it. That is the price of getting yourself knocked off. So, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wander. Oh, he's still not gone, huh? Okay, he is now. So now, back in the day, this would have been a lot more high traffic area. So the reason it's got such a high spawn rate is because you can see that we have hundreds of players trying to go through this quest at the same time. So it's beneficial to have such a high spawn rate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wander back into the park, hop on the fence, and just for giggles, I will show, if I want to use the cell phone option, I will click on contact. Got my contact, Matthew Habashi, and I'm going to click on call. So, what's going on with the Hellion situation? I found an artifact that it looks like it belongs to Magi. Great, I mean that to be sarcastic, by the way. The Magi Vault in Galaxy City was destroyed during the incident. There's probably hundreds of dangerous artifacts floating around Paragon now. At least we've got one of them. We're getting reports, however, of more missing people. Probably the Hellions' work. Cursed artifacts, crazy cultists, missing people, never a good sign. So, you're right on that one, Recap. We need to find out where the Hellions are keeping all these people. Did you find out anything else? So I have a couple of different options. I could ask about his wife, which I never really have done because it seems kind of rude from an in-character perspective. It's like, well, I know that your wife, you know, I find out from a different guy that his wife died, so now I'm going to turn around and say, hey, what happened to your wife? That never fits my own personality style. So I would say, no, that's all. What's next? And he comes up with an idea. Now you'll notice that once we move to this thing here, I got additional experience points and got halfway through this particular XP bar. So that's great. I will be leveling up shortly. Let's see. Well, I think I have an idea on what we could do next. It's a little crazy, but I think it might just work. Well, what do you have in mind? Here we are at part 3. What Was Lost, Part 3, Incognito. We need to find one of the Hellions' bases and get information on what they're planning and where they're holding these hostages without them knowing about it, which means you'll need to get yourself some information and a disguise. So, you got an idea on where to get both? Here's where we have the next part of the plan. I just might. We're getting reports about Hellions loitering around one of the tunnels nearby. An eyewitness said that it looked like they might be guarding a possible supply cache. If you take down Hellion informants, you can find out where their cache is. After that, you can disguise yourself as an informant to get in there and find some information. If we go incognito, we might be able to catch them off guard, and by the way, and by we I mean you, sorry. So, I'll click on leave. I've got my assignment. Before doing that, I'm going to bring us over to Ms. Liberty, who is going to give us the option of leveling up. She is one of the trainers. Clicking on her, it says, what do you do? You're doing great so far, recap, keep at it. I have a few different options. I've got train to a new level, customize your appearance, ask about this contact, etc. Click on train to a new level of power. You're ready for security level 3. So, certain levels you get additional slots. Certain ones you get new powers. Generally speaking, the odd numbers are where you get additional enhancement slots, and the even ones are where you get new powers. So, I'm going to click on train up to next level. We got ourselves the powers listed here. I have my time manipulation power. I've got my dual pistols. I have the inherent ones, things like brawl, sprint, rest, prestige power slide I never use, swift, hurdle, health, stamina. I can add these 2 slots to wherever I want. I'm going to add them to the dual pistols. Okay. Now, I'd mentioned the enhancements. Enhancements would go in these particular open slots that we have. Again, I'm going to try and hold off on getting any enhancements in here as late as possible, because at this low level it's just a waste of influence, and I can use all the influence that I get at this point in trying to get the better stuff later on. So here we are. I've leveled up. I'm at level 3. Away I go. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to actually stop this video right here. Hope you've enjoyed this first leveling of the recap character here in City of Heroes. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, etc., etc. There will be more content forthcoming. The channel is very much still in its infancy, as you can tell by there being one video. So we'll see how it goes from there. And yeah, thank you very much, and hope to see you guys come around again.